Hey everyone, I've returned from my Atlanta journey, which included my attending the Virginfest, or as I like to call it now, the Lark in the Park, because it ended up taking place in a park. And I have a few more thoughts about the occasion and my experience there and how everything went down. First of all, as I said in the last video that I recorded on this subject, I really feel lucky, blessed to have gotten to go to see the show, to be at the event, because again, as I was saying last time, it initially looked like I won't repeat all the details, but initially looked like I wasn't going to be able to attend the show, but since our old friend the Antifa intimidated the people who were holding the event into canceling it. Afterwards they moved the event to a nearby park, so I wasn't going to be able to get in unless I somehow managed to finagle my way in, asking for a press pass at the door, which I suspected would not be successful. But because it was now being held outdoors, I had access, and got to go and got to meet some cool people and watch some cool musicians play and just attend a really cool event. Now, I'm feeling a little bit embarrassed because I think I underestimated just how conspicuous I was. I knew that I would stand out. I knew that I would be older than everybody else who was there. But at the time, I sort of, people, some of the guys there were, ribbing me, asking me if I was from Vice, asking other kinds of questions. And it seemed like it was sort of good-natured or good-spirited. But now, there was also a time where I would pan. I would be directing the camera at somebody who was performing, and then I would pan to the crowd because that's part of the event. You want to see how the crowd is responding, and it's a very colorful crowd, and they're responding in lots of different ways. Sometimes they were, they had a mosh pit going. Sometimes they're just sort of bopping along. So it was only to get, the full sort of scene. But I had one guy, I remember every time I'd pan by him, he would flip me off. And I sort of, at the time, for some reason, I thought that he was just kind of being funny, and again, I didn't take it personally. I didn't take anything anybody said personally. I thought that would have been really silly to do so. I just sort of tried to banter back, but when they asked me who I was, I told them, and I gave them my name, and a couple people looked me up, and I guess that some of them were mollified, and the one guy with whom I spoke, who told me his name, but I don't remember it right now. But you can see the video that I recorded, where it's about 8 minutes long, and it's very very dark, and you can just see his fuzzy outline, and it's while the show's going on. So there's a little bit more noise than I would have liked, but that couldn't really be helped. I mean, as far as it was, the noise was sometimes getting in the way of being able to hear our conversation quite as well as I would have liked, but so it goes. But so again, a couple people were mollified. A couple people asked me. One guy asked me, "What organization are you from?" And he asked it, not in a confrontational way. And I told him, all the time when I was asked that question, I always told the truth, and told him my name, and so forth. But I am also aware that, you're at this show where it's a bunch of late teens and people in their 20s mostly, and this is an event that's been stigmatized. This is a type of music that's been stigmatized by by the predominant powers that be. So I understand. I totally get why you would wonder, what's this old guy doing here? Relatively speaking, this old guy, this guy who is at least 20 years older, 15 or 20 years older than probably the oldest of the rest of the attendees. When I talked to Tim Sabers, who was there, he told me that he's also a little bit older, but he's a very fit-looking and youngish-looking man. So he looks, I think, young enough to be a legit attendee. But he said he was glad that I was there because it kind of gave him some cover, because I was even older than him. So. Anyway, I think I was a little bit naive. I was a little bit. I maybe should have taken into account how my presence, the effect that my presence would have upon this event. The last thing that I wanted was to make anybody, I don't know, feel uncomfortable or feel like someone was among them who couldn't be trusted, and who was, who's this old guy filming us and so forth. I think I underestimated the extent to which that was the case, and looking back, I should have known better as far as that goes. There was one guy who really gave me the third degree. It was like, I was telling somebody else, well, I'm in agreement with, I'm sympathetic to this scene. I'm not a part of this scene, but I'm sympathetic to this scene. And this one guy, like with a shaved head, he wasn't a skinhead, but he had a shaved head, and just a very intense kind of intimidating look about him. And he was like, "What do you mean you're interested? Or what do you mean sympathetic?" And he was looking at me, with this kind of expression. And I told him, I was well aware that he was not, that he was scowling all the time that I was answering him. But I just said, well, I'm in favor of free speech. I think that I think artistic expression should be allowed to flourish, and nothing should have to be taboo. And so then he kind of turned away. He didn't even say okay, or he didn't grunt or anything. It was, I don't know whether the answer was satisfactory to him or not. I kind of got the feeling he continued to be suspicious of me. And I think the way that I felt at the time was, maybe this guy is Antifa. This is my convoluted way of thinking at the time. I was thinking, he wanted to know why I was sympathetic to Incel Corps, to the Virginfest, and everything. And so I thought maybe he was trying to dox me, or trying to that he, didn't feel sympathetically towards this whole thing, but he was just there watching it. I don't know, as a spy or something, to take notes. And then, this one older gentleman, i.e. me, who really stood out like a sore thumb, you know, he maybe, my thought was at the time, he wanted to, that maybe he was hostile towards the event, and me saying that I was sympathetic towards the event maybe made him hostile towards me. And I think he was hostile, or at least suspicious of me, but now thinking back, he was probably there, you know, also, you know, in sympathy, or also just a fan of the music, a fan of the scene. But anyway, like, I just wanted to talk about those things in retrospect. And you know, I wish there was a way that I could have been there and not been noticed as much, but that's really not possible. I don't really mind being noticed most of the time, but there are also times where I just want to be a fly on the wall. And this was an event that I really just wanted to be able to take in and you know, and show to the world to one extent or another, you know, with the smallish platform that I have, which doesn't really, you know, it's not really the world, but there are people who watch my channel. There are people who subscribe to me on Instagram. So I just wanted to highlight these. I thought, you know, these are musicians, and this is a scene. This is a musical movement, if you will, that's really carrying the torch for punk rock, and I think they deserve recognition for that. And so I honestly was there because from the best of motives, from the best of intentions as far as the scene goes, as far as the music goes, but I had no. I had absolutely no pretension about, you know, thinking of myself as a part of this scene, because obviously I'm not a part of the scene. I'm a fan of it. You know, I like a lot of the musicians. I've listened to a lot of the music, and it's good. You know, it's not just because they're anti-PC and, you know, and they hate the same things that I hate in our culture and society today. It's not just that. I really think a lot of these musicians are really good musicians. And I should also say I was very, very impressed by the performances. You know, they were forced into this, they were forced to plan B, because it was supposed to be an electric show, but now they were just playing in this park setting, so they had to switch to acoustic. So you just had this you know, guitar strumming and you know, maybe a little bit of snare playing, but that was it. And they adapted admirably to the new circumstances in a way that was really, again, really, really impressive. And the way that it all ended with, and I know I'm taking some crap now for calling him negative XD, like okay, boomer, even though I'm not a boomer, I'm an Xer, but I I have misidentified him several times as negative XD when he's actually negative XP. So I'm sure if you go back and hear my last video where I when I call him that, you know, I'm sure a lot of people kind of smirked about that. Here's this old guy can't even get the name right, but negative XP, i.e. Shooter, when he played last, it was this very special moment. It was this powerful moment, because I think there had been some question about whether he was going to be able to come or be willing to come after the Antifa targeted him, you know, specifically, because he's the most conspicuous of the entire lot. And all, but here's the interesting thing: he's full-blooded Korean. He's Korean American, but as far as I know, of Korean background. And you look at some of the pictures that I posted, and there are several non-white young men, and there are several girls there. And one of the performers, announced that before he started his set, he announced that the girl that was next to him, who was playing the percussion instrument, the tambourine, for some reason I forgot the name of that instrument. He announced that she was his fiance, and he said, "Yep, I exposed myself as a fake cell," and it got laughter. And again, there was this even though there were people were hostile or suspicious of me as an outsider, and I can understand their suspicion. In spite of that, I really was moved by the sense of camaraderie that was there. I was moved by how this was a group of people who were there for each other. They were there for the performers. When the infiltrators came, they all banded together to play the music louder and to encourage them to leave, and it worked. They did, and I got that on video. Although I tried to film it side by side, but for some reason it's now sideways. I don't know why that happened, but I'm just not very adept with my camera work, I guess. So you can watch it, and you have to tilt your head to the side to see it. But at least I captured the moment. But anyway, the way that it ended with Shooter's set, he was just sitting down in a chair, and there was just this odd, rapt attention that was given to him. Everyone was close up, and I got a few pictures of this, and I posted his the final song that he performed there. And you listen to Negative XP, his actual music, and it's raucous. It's a full band. It's melodic, but it's punk. But here, he was just strumming the guitar and singing, and everybody knew the words, and everybody was singing along, and it was just an incredible feeling of camaraderie, of this group cohesion, group togetherness, and it didn't matter. It wasn't about race. And I said before, if it was just a bunch of white guys, that wouldn't make me look down on it. I don't fetishize diversity. I think it's fine if it's just a bunch of white guys playing together. That's perfectly legit. But the fact that there were people of all different backgrounds, there were whites, browns, blacks who were there. There were girls who were there. But they were all together. They were all a part of this scene, and they really gravitated towards, again, this final performance by Negative XP, i.e. Shooter, and so then he played, and then he left. And they shouted after him, "We love you, Shooter. We love you, Shooter." And I wish like anything that I had kept my the phone camera rolling, just to capture that moment of him walking away and everybody shouting those things after him. It was powerful. And I just wanted to emphasize that this was a powerful event, and I wholeheartedly support it. I hope that this scene grows, although they'll obviously have some hurdles to clear because the world as we know it is against them and thinks that they're reprobates and think that they're racist, sexist, misogynist, what have you, just because they don't bow down to all of the bogus sacred cows of our age. You know, even though I'm not, it's not my scene, and I make no bones about, make no pretensions about me having anything to do with this scene. I really do. I wish it very well. I will pray for everyone who was there. I will pray for all of the performers, and I'm very excited to see how it all develops in the months and years to come. Thanks for watching. My name's Andy Nowicki. You can check out my author page at altrightnovelist.com.